The European Super League. Well, when it was announced, there was absolute uproar. Not just uproar between the rest of English football, but uproar within the fans of the six teams that had decided to break away. Now, at the time, the clubs immediately came out a day or two later, pulled out of the Super League, apologised, blah, 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 and decided to listen to the fans. However, it was said amongst everybody, really, that what the punishment was going to be. Would it be a points deduction? Would it be moved down the leagues, similar to what happened to Rangers in Scotland? Or would it just be a fine? Turns out it's just a fine, but £20 million fine between the six of them, which works out at £3.5 million each for trying to destroy English football. Disgrace. This is the Toon Review. Hi everybody, I'm Paul, back again with another video and a bit of news away from Newcastle United. This one, it's on the European Super League. I don't know that many people like talking about that anymore because obviously the English teams have broken away now and decided that they don't want to be a part of the Super League for the moment. However, what really grinds on my piss today is the fact that it's £3.5 million each of a fine for trying to destroy our beautiful game, trying to destroy English football. Now, before anybody gets onto me here, I know it wasn't the fans. I know it wasn't. But, as fans of those clubs, you have to accept, really, the criticism or the flack that's going to come your way as being part of that club. Now, the fines are a disgrace. This was a chance for the Premier League, a massive chance for the Premier League to come out and stamp their authority and say, right, all this crap going on about conspiracy theories and corruption and all of that stuff with the Big Six, we'll put it to bed because we'll absolutely hammer these teams for what they've done or what they've tried to do to English football. But no, once again, the Premier League come out, as usual, like a bunch of bastard cowards and just fine them £3.5 million each. It actually came out in the news before the fines were announced that the clubs had agreed a fine. Agreed a fine? Who does that these days? Who on earth does that? That's like a murderer going on into court and saying, right, I know I did the crimes, but I want to work out a sentence, Your Honour. A judge is just going to laugh at him and say, hang on a minute, you've committed murder. I know, we're going far-fetched here, but it's a similar sort of thing. It's them discussing what kind of fine they're going to get, and then they come out with £3.5 million each. It's wrong in every single possible way. It was a real chance, like I said, for the Premier League to say, right, let's stamp our authority on this, let's really hammer these teams so that in the future they daresn't do something like this because they know the repercussions of it. But £3.5 million, I mean, come on, for these six teams, it's like a tenner to me. I mean, it's ridiculous. And no wonder the Premier League are getting hammered with corruption and conspiracy theories and all of this kind of stuff that there's goings on behind the scenes with the Big Six just so they can keep them happy. This was obviously the case from the start. You want to keep these Big Six teams happy. You want them to still have a big say in what goes on in English football. It shouldn't be like that. You have 20 teams in the Premier League. 20 teams, not 6. But these 6 just seem to be able to dictate what they want. They've even dictated what fines they get for trying to destroy English football. Where is the sense in that? There is none. It's beyond a joke now, and something needs to be done about this Premier League because, Boris Johnson, to his credit, came out and said it was a fucking cartel. That's exactly what this is. But the rest of the Premier League are not part of this cartel. It is this 6 teams and this 6 teams only who seem to be constantly at the forefront of everything that the Premier League do. The Premier League cannot make any decisions without the backing of these 6 clubs. That is blatantly clear and obvious now, even for our takeover at Newcastle. You know, that some teams in the Big Six rejected it and the Premier League didn't want it to go through because they've got their cartel and they don't want anybody bursting the bubble. It's as simple as that. And this just goes to prove, these fines go to prove what absolute cowards the Premier League are. And that they're in cahoots with the Big Six. There is no doubt in my mind now, after these fines have come out, what is going on behind the scenes. And I really do hope this Newcastle United court case does go all the way, because the Premier League are going to have to answer some serious, serious questions. You know, about conspiracy, about all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes with these Big Six, and, you know, the rest of the Premier League just get buggered off. Sod them, we'll make the decisions, and the rest will just follow. We're not fucking rats following the Pied Piper here. We want to have some involvement. The whole of the Premier League needs to have some involvement. It's a fucking ridiculous thing to do. Because it just heightens everybody's feelings that the Premier League are in cahoots with us, the Big Six. And this is just more proof in the pudding. It's a ridiculous thing for the Premier League to do when they had an opportunity to stamp the fucking statement on it and say, right, we are the Premier League. We run 20 clubs. We will not bow down to these other 6. These other 6 have created an absolute farce with this European Super League. So we, as the governing body, as the Premier League, are going to hit them and hit them fucking hard. But no, Richard Masters and his cronies back down like the cowards that they are yet again. Sick of it, man. Honestly, it just never stops with this Premier League. It never, ever stops. Every single week there's more shit comes out. And negotiating the fine with the Big Six, how pathetic is that, man? You slap the fines on them, you slap the points deduction, and you say, right, you decided to try and walk away, get on with it. Less you whinging, just get on with it. And yes, I feel for the fans of these Big Six, of course I do, because it wasn't them. They've been dragged through the mill just as much as anybody else. With the owners of these clubs trying to just think of big bucks, massive big dollar signs in their eyes. It's ridiculous, man. And they're still going to have the big dollar signs in their eyes because £3.5 million to these men is just, it's pennies, man. But there you go. They can't do it, can they? They cannot do it. They cannot make a statement. They cannot back the rest of the Premier League up. They have to follow what this Big Six cartel decide they want to do. It's fucking pathetic, and I don't know how things are going to change. The only thing I can hope for is that the court case with Newcastle United just goes the distance, and the Premier League have to come out and say what goes on behind the scenes. Because it's a fucking farce. Anyway, that's my feelings on it. I think a lot of people would agree with it, to be honest. I mean, even if you're a fan of the Big Six, you know, it must be really frustrating, you know, for you as fans, because it's not your fault at the end of the day. It really isn't. It's the owners of these clubs. You know, the fans of the 6 clubs have made their feelings perfectly clear about what they think of the owners and what they've tried to do, and credit to them. You know, so it's you know, hats off to the fans. But I think the fine is an absolute farce. It's just ridiculous. It's not even a fine. It really isn't. But anyway, if you've enjoyed the video, guys, do smash the like button. And if you haven't already, or you're new to the channel, you like what you see, lots of football on here, not just Newcastle United. We go England, we go Premier League, EFL, non-league, all kinds of stuff coming up on the channel. So do hit that subscription button. And if you'd like to be notified when I do upload or go live, hit the notification bell as well, and that'll let you know straight away. But in the meantime, guys, enjoy the rest of the week. I'll be back on live stream tonight if you're watching this on the Thursday with the Euro 2020 predictions with Jade, and hopefully get a few guests on. But until then, guys, see you then.
Be strong.